what's going on, people? This is HD BeenDope, and this is BeenDopeSpeaks. On this season, we'll be discussing broken dreams and how it relates to each of our guests. On today's episode, Hollywood Jew. Alright, yo, what's up? Welcome. My name is HD BeenDope, and this is, I guess, Broken Dream Conversations is what we're going to call it for now. Still trying to figure out what the actual direction is here, but I kind of just want to use this podcast space to kind of give you more insight on the people around me and how these topics in this project connect to people, you know what I mean? Because I think that's one of the biggest things about this project that I wanted to get across, is that there's just a lot of conversation that can be built around these topics from these songs. So today I got a guest. I got my cameraman, my cousin, my first real friend. We got Hollywood Jew on the episode today. How you feeling, bro?
I'm alright, man. I'm blessed. Glad to be here.
Okay, cool. I'm happy to have you here. First off, just give people a breakdown of who you are, you know what I mean, and how you kind of fit inside of the shit that we call life.
Alright, I'm Hollywood Jew. I would say, to explain myself, I'm just somebody that don't take no for an answer. I was blessed with the opportunity to move back to New York City last August 2019. From Florida. I grew up in Florida, but I was actually born here in Brooklyn. But came back here last year in August, and things been up since. In between times, I take pictures for HD, take his pictures for during concerts. I do all the BTS, anything. Every time we do an event, I'm there recording. And it's honestly some of the most pleasant work that I do, because like I said, this is my first friend, so it's never anything where it's like we have issues, bouncing ideas off each other, things like that. It's just almost effortless. So yeah, that's basically me in short form.
Cool. All right, so today I didn't actually figure out what song I want to kind of speak on topically. So you know what? Actually, being that you said about you leaving the nest, you know what I mean, leaving Florida and coming back to New York, right? I think a good song to go on would be Off the Block, right? So Off the Block, I made that record basically because I think it's important that people don't live inside of their comfort zone, right? Mm-hmm. I think that shit is just imperative because, as I said in the song, and it's ironic because this is the type of shit that your dad used to tell us, right? It's just 3 things change when you get success: your friends, your family, and your environment, right? And I think that's where a lot of us find our comfort. You find your comfort in the friends that you have. You find comfort in your family and how they treat you, and where you live, right? And this record, Off the Block, I wanted to get across that these are just things that we have to grow out of. You know what I mean? You have to accept that these things will change in order to actually reach levels of success. You know what I mean? And you can't be afraid of that. So that's pretty much the overview of what Off the Block is. So for you, I know you moved several times in being in Florida, right?
Right.
Like just going through college and then even you getting out the nest from your mom's spot. So give people a little bit of a background on that.
As far as like things that I had to go through, that's necessarily
so
to change.
First though, give me the first move, like your first pivotal change of like, oh shit, this feels uncomfortable.
That was in 2014 when I moved from my community college, which was 10 minutes away from my house, because I was playing basketball, and I got a scholarship to go play at a 4-year college, which was 3.5 hours away. Being in a relationship at the time and never really being away from my mom before, like I kind of went into it with a mindset like, whatever. It's, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Yeah. But then you get there and then you realize you can't go home and go see the people you want to see all the time. You got responsibilities. So it's like, it's not as easy as getting in the car and just driving back home. When you're uncomfortable, you got to kind of like deal with it. And then on top of it, like I said, I was there playing basketball at the time. So there was no like time to be upset or sad or depressed. Like it was like, you got to get it together because people around you need you.
No, 100%. 100%. Okay, so that's like the environmental change, and then that's kind of how you had to deal with that mentally, right? So as you're on this journey of kind of figuring things out, actually, so the 2014, you said that was going from the junior college to
my 4-year university.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, copy. Give me the next environmental change before we start talking about the other.
The next environmental change wasn't like the next hard one, or just the next.
Just give me the next one. The next, like, all right, I had to make a step. You know what I mean? Like, I was too comfortable here, and now I have to get out of my environment.
That was graduating college, going back home, getting a job at the LA Fitness, and then realizing I was having way too much fucking fun clocking in LA Fitness every fucking day.
Okay.
I was only supposed to be there to long enough to hopefully a basketball tryout came through. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
But moving out at that point is like, all right, I got to get out of my mom's house, and then I moved off to Tampa, Florida, from the Orlando area, and that was maybe 2.5 hours away, and that was a change that I had to make to get uncomfortable. But I wouldn't even say like that was miserable at the beginning. Like it was great at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? You have freedom. You're away from your mom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, clean. All right. So with these environmental changes, right, that's obviously where your first bit of uncomfort comes from. Now, you coming to New York, what was that change like for you?
Bro, so that shit was almost desperation. Like I needed the change, and weirdly enough, it was like we got reconnected in like a real bonding way. Like, I mean, obviously we've talked to each other all the time, but like it was different. Like it was more so like I was seeing how I could fit into your world and actually be a reason to leave.
Right.
But prior to that, I was trying to shoot music videos down in Florida, and it was just a lot slower. It's hard to get a foot in. There's not really a market for it unless you're one of the big time guys or you're connected to one of those, bigger artists or something like that.
Right.
So for me, it was a whole lot of, I don't know what the fuck we gonna eat. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna put gas in my car. It was a lot of that shit. So I had to make that move just to have my sanity, because I realized when you worrying about the primitive things, eating, where you're gonna sleep, driving, shit like that, there's no room for creativity at that point.
That's fair. That's actually a true point. I think so there's two sides of that, because I think there's a point where creativity does come in desperation, like when you're just so, damn, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, that you just start creating random shit. But I feel you in terms of like the primitive things, because now you're worried about survival, right, and the creativity doesn't necessarily always bring the survival.
It's a money grab at this point.
Right. Nah, that's true. Okay, so you moved to New York. Now, I would say that you're on the trajectory to success. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, but with that comes the added pressure of your last at bat, always improving, because we live in a world of now what, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I deal with now, but that's not nothing. That's everything I've asked for. If that's my biggest issue, like staying consistent and growing and essentially living to work, doing what I love to do another day, I'll take that. I don't have any issues like what am I going to eat anymore or anything like that. So I can't, I'm good.
Okay, so you move here now. In the song, I talk about friends changing and family changing. Have you noticed any change within you and your friends? So I'll use me as an example. Like, as I gain more success, right? The other day I had a conversation with one of my friends. This was maybe a couple weeks ago, and they described me as like a lion. So basically they were talking about like we can't speak the same way. Mm-hmm. Like they feel like they can't reach out to me the same way because, you're in A&R meetings, or you're doing whatever the hell that you're doing, right? That's centered around this music shit. And for me, it feels very much like, nigga, I'm doing the same thing that I was doing before. Like, granted,
Right.
like, the rooms may have changed, but I feel the same. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Right.
still here. Like, if you want to come see me, you can still pull up. Like, it's very regular for me. But they pretty much described it as like a lion. Like, you were Simba at one point, and now you're this big Mufasa, and you feel like, yo, it's me. But people don't want to necessarily be next to the roaring fucking lion. So with you moving your environment and being on this path of success, do you feel any difference amongst you and your friends?
When I first got here, more so, not as much now. People are kind of accepting it now, but when I first got here and people would see like some of the cooler shit we'll get to do, you know, some of the, you know, I would say
Keeping the mic.
Huh?
In the mic, yeah.
Okay. But more so of, I think they would walk on eggshells a little bit once they started seeing I was doing like cooler shit and getting like bigger jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, like you said, I didn't feel any different. So I would have to like reassure them, like, bro, like we're good. Outside of that, not really. I mean, they think it's really cool, the shit that I do, but I have to explain to them, like, yeah, I might be in this room with this person, but you got to realize I'm the smallest person in that room.
Right.
So it's almost irrelevant. Like, you know, it's not like I can go in this room and talk to that person that you think is cool. Like, I'm just in there, you know, and I got to kind of stay out of the way. So in that sense, but once they realize that, oh, okay, cool, like it's just a bigger room, but you know, it's not, it's doable. I don't know. For one, I feel in a good way, a lot of my friends are getting motivated because they're like, all right, bet, like if you can do it, I can do it too, which is always great.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but I mean, that's about it for the most part, honestly. The motivation is there. And then also when, you know, they see things like that, like they almost feel like, yo, you might be a little too busy. I don't feel like I can just call you to talk about nothing. And it's like, bro, just call me. I mean, if I'm busy, I'll call you back.
100%. Yeah,
You know?
yeah. That's dope. I think this will be funny to revisit this conversation when, you know, shit is just a little different.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're a little more busy. The money is a little heavier.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to revisit this conversation because, you know, I think it's inevitable that the dynamics change a little bit. You know what I mean? Amongst your friends, I think it's just bound to happen. And then last one, family. Do you feel there's any change there?
Change. So the only change I would say, your parents obviously worry about stability and things like that. And being that I'm stepping into like a new world, I would say, like a world where a lot more people do it now. You get certain things where your parents obviously fear for your like stability. Like, yo, are you going to be okay in this? You know, when I'm no longer here to make sure you have something to fall back on, like,
Right.
are you going to be okay? And I would say that's the only change. But I mean, even my parents are warming up to it. I mean, my mom is the biggest fan of all of this stuff. I actually set up a website, and with that, she goes and checks the website every week. And if I don't go put the new videos on the website, she's upset because she ain't got nothing to watch. You know?
That's fire.
And even my dad is, you know, warming up to it. But it's just different for them because they don't know this world. So it's me essentially stepping out into a world they've never heard of. So they have that natural, you know, nervousness, but not in a way where they make me feel insignificant or they make me feel like, you know, they're not telling me I'm great all the time, but at the same time, they're not telling me to do anything else. So it's cool. Like, it works. But nah, definitely not.
Got you. So no real change amongst the
I
family.
mean, I've also not done anything significant enough to make them change. I think, you know, if once I'm like super removed, moved out, you know, and flying here to here to here to here, then it might change. But while I'm still around them and I see them all the time, nah, I don't think they're tripping.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. In terms of, in terms of your transition into getting into camera stuff, because you were playing ball
Right.
before that, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much of the mentality of an athlete do you implement in your camera work?
Every step of the way, it's almost a little nasty because I feel like, I mean, obviously there's competition and everything,
Yeah.
but I feel like in the art world, it's a little more passive and a little more like, all right, worry about yourself and one up yourself. In
Yeah.
the sports world, it's I see you, you're better at this, that, and the third. I'm gonna get better at that. You know, it's like a dog eat dog. Like I'm taking everybody out one person at a time.
Right.
And I think I kind of have that mentality when it comes to the camera stuff. So like I can see something, and obviously it's like I can give people their flowers and tell them how great their stuff is. But the competitor in me is like, oh nah, this is one person I gotta take down, you know?
Gotcha.
And I take that mentality to it, and then also the repetitions of it, you know, shooting every day, you know, editing every day, like shooting jump shots almost, you know.
For sure.
And I take that mentality to it, and it's kind of working. It could be a little backwards. It's probably a more efficient way to go about it, but like, I don't know. That's just kind of how I'm wired.
Okay, so it clicks like that. All right. One thing that I do want to get into before we get out of here, I like to really show the yin and the yang, and I like hearing you talk about kind of mentality that you have going into, like how you approach the camera stuff.
Right.
Being in this kind of freelance world, trying to figure it out, there's definitely a darker side to it, right?
Right.
Walk me through your, I don't want to say your darkest, but like a moment that you remember, like, all right, where I was kind of thinking a little left, like, damn, I shouldn't be thinking like this. I should be more optimistic. Like, walk me through that.
A darker side, it would have to be back when I was in Florida, for sure.
Okay.
Like that last 2 or 3 months. At the time, I was charging maybe $75 for a music video. To put it in context, Florida is so big, to fill up your tank of gas, to get around, like you're spending like maybe 30, 40 on gas. A lot of the times, no, on a trip.
Okay.
Like as far as I was going, like it wasn't like New York, like I book a video and I'm getting on the train for 20 minutes. I was booking a video, I'm having to drive 2-3 hours sometimes.
Oh, so you need that whole 30 for
Right. So
trip.
the thing is, I'm
gotcha.
filling up my gas tank. I'm charging maybe $75 to $100 just to, you know, be able to get somebody to work with me. And it would just be times where I would come home and then I would literally have to choose between, okay, because I still had a job at the time.
Okay.
But it was I was working off commission. So it wasn't like I was getting paid a salary every 2 weeks. I would only get paid when I'd have a new client.
Right.
And basically with that, I wasn't making any money in that world because I was so new to that job. I would have to choose between eating most nights, eating and having enough gas to get to work. And that shit there would like, I would have to like literally cry that shit off and then go about my day. Like it was just like, I would just have the breakdown. And then the hard part would be because like my mom would call the check-in like, yo, like how was it doing? Because I wasn't at her house anymore. She would ask me like how I'm doing and stuff. And I could not tell her what was going on because I know she would jump into mom mode and try to fucking save me. And that's not what I needed because I always feel like if you put yourself in a situation, you figure your way out of it, you know?
Definitely.
Granted, help is important. Like we need people to help us like that. That is like one of the most ideal things in life. But I also believe that if you dig a grave, you got to dig yourself out of it. Like you can't just resort to anybody willing to give you something.
For sure.
So that was the darkest time. And in that time, all I really had to like, I had a girlfriend at the time. So that was like something that was like my distraction from the hard shit. And then one day, JD, who is part of the team, he sent me a fucking Metro card in the mail, and he don't know what the fuck that shit did for me because I was literally looking at my account today like, bro, I can't do this. I was on Indeed earlier that morning looking for new jobs. Like, all right, I'm gonna have to clean up the camera shit. I'm gonna have to just get a big boy job. Like, fuck it, it's over with. And JD sent me that fucking Metro card right on time. I seen that shit. And within 2 weeks, I was here. I was like, fuck it, all in on me. Fuck that job, bro. Fuck that.
No, that shit is actually super fire. So in your moments of fuck, I gotta figure this out, right?
Right.
Because that one was super specific, right? The kind of the JD moment was like a catalyst for you kind of clicking back in, like, all right, word, I gotta get to it. Normally when you go through random bouts of doubt, right? Because I think every creator goes through that. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
How do you normally get out of those? Or is it like wait it out, or do you do something specific? Like, how do you get out?
When I'm getting bouts of like feeling like it's not working, essentially.
Yeah.
At that point, I kind of like just turn it off. You work through it. Like, I don't ignore it because it's there, but I don't allow it to fester. Like, I always allow myself some time to feel it and like attach to it for a little bit.
Yeah.
So in those days, I would like completely get away from camera and filmmaking and just go do something else. And then at some point, it's like, all right, cool, enough of this shit. Like, we got to get through it. And then you just start working. And then once you start working, you usually like through that doubt usually comes some type of inspiration. And through that inspiration, you usually start creating some shit that it's like, oh, nah, I'm right where I need to be. You know?
Got you. So you kind of step away for a little bit.
Got to.
Kind of clear.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Word. Yeah, I think that's usually how I handle those moments. Like, there's times I'll sit here and like try and make beats for a whole day and nothing is like coming out right.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be like, all right, you know what? I'm going to just step away. I'll play some 2K. Like, I just need that decompressing time. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, word. I feel like on next episode, we'll probably go through another topic on the project and kind of dive into that. But I feel like this was cool. I appreciate you taking the time, man. Let people know where they could follow you.
Definitely. Appreciate you having me. First off, if you're looking, you can search Hollywood Jew on Twitter or Instagram. That's at HollywoodJew _ on both of those. Or if you want to check out some of the work, you can go over to HollywoodJew.com. You know, I'm around the Lab Rat family, so hopefully you guys hear a lot more from me in the future.
Most definitely. And, you know, once the show's open back up, you're going to see him. He's the 6'7" guy that's running around with us. He's the tallest one. So, and ask him how tall he is. Even though I just
don't do that shit.
Just ask him
if you see that
shit. All right, man. I appreciate you.
All right, bro.
Thank you for listening to BeenDopeSpeaks. Subscribe anywhere that you listen to podcasts. And make sure you hit me up on all socials at HD BeenDope. Peace.